In an under 15 girls soccer game this weekend, I saw one of the worst throw-ins that I've ever seen. The girl who attempted it laughed as she ran on the field after she was, whistled for a foul, and her teammates kind of chuckled, but her coach was irate. And our coach on the sideline screamed down towards her, Jessica, you're a center forward. Why are you even taking a throw-in? That was his question. It wasn't, how could you be that bad at taking a throw in, or why didn't you concentrate more, or anything related to the skill. It was the wrong person took a throw in. And this is common in basketball as well. If a quote unquote post player starts dribbling down court and turns the ball over, it's not, oh, well, we need to work with Johnny's dribbling skills. It's, you're a post player, you're not supposed to dribble. And so we have these very narrow definitions of positions, and we continually put these narrow definitions of position on players at a very young age. There's no reason why a 15-year-old player should not know how to take a throw-in. Now, down close to the penalty area, maybe if your striker is, a taller, more physical player, as this girl was, maybe you don't want her to take that throw-in because you want the throw-in going to her so that she can play the ball out of the air to a teammate. In some cases, I've seen the bigger, strong players do take the throw-ins down when it's close to the goal because they're the only ones that are able to throw the ball into the penalty area direct from a throw-in. So instead of taking a short, weak throw-in, they use the biggest, strongest player and throw the ball as far as possible into the penalty area and hope that something good happens. So it's not unheard of for a center forward to take the throw-in if they're the bigger, stronger player from what I've seen in these games. But the bigger point to me is that we're focusing on the wrong thing. We're focusing on a position designation as opposed to focusing on skills and making sure that all players have all skills. Now maybe within a game or within a competitive game, the skills that we actually attempt during a game will be, for instance, in basketball, a post player won't dribble as often as a point guard. Just the normal, way the game is played. One player, regardless of designation, but one player will typically dribble the ball more than the other players. But that doesn't mean that all players should not have the ability to dribble, and on the occasion when it presents itself, that all players shouldn't have the confidence to dribble the ball up court. And so when we think about the narrow position designations, I just think we're focusing on the wrong thing. We're focusing on the wrong mistake. The mistake isn't that a center forward took a throw-in. The mistake is that the center forward did not know how to make a good throw-in. If a post player dribbles down court and turns it over, the mistake isn't that a post player dribbled. The mistake is that maybe the post player needs more practice to develop his or her dribbling skills. Or maybe the post player just made a mistake, just like point guards make mistakes, and there's nothing really to worry about. So yelling, post player, you shouldn't dribble, there's no point, because if a point guard, so let's say a point guard is dribbling the ball at the court and point guard dribbles it off his or her foot, the coach isn't going to yell out, hey, you're the point guard, you're not supposed to dribble. That'd be silly. But if a post player does it, then we yell out and say, oh, you're not supposed to dribble. I think we need to focus on the mistake and not the position designation. And we should develop players, especially, again, this was under 15s. We should develop players that have all the skills because that player may end up as, a midfielder or even a defender if she continues to play. A post player today may end up as a wing or a point guard in the future. So we can't limit players to only a very narrow set of skills. We need to develop all the skills. And when a mistake is made, then we need to determine, what caused the mistake. Maybe it's just, it happens. And, nobody's 100% perfect, so some mistakes happen. Maybe it's a sign that, this particular player or maybe many particular players on the team don't have enough practice to execute some skill. during a game, so we need to focus on these skills more in practice, because maybe if we're relying on a point guard to dribble the ball all the time and we're fine and everything's good, then we get into a game and now they pick up our point guard full court and don't allow him to get the ball, and now other players have to bring it up, and now we're less effective. Well, that just means that everybody else needs to be able to handle that type of pressure and be able to dribble the ball more effectively. And so that means that maybe in practice we need to spend more time with everybody dribbling the ball instead of just getting by with only one player doing most of the work. So again, I think coaches oftentimes in games, because we're caught up in the competitive element and trying to do what's strategically the best to win the game, we miss the boat in terms of the feedback, and we focus on the wrong thing, i.e. the positions, as opposed to what we need to focus on, which is developing those skills in whatever player it was that made whatever mistake it may have been. And so if we focus more on the skills and either giving feedback immediately that may help that player in the next time they attempt that skill, or remembering what the mistake was, that it's something that we can practice at our next practice, or maybe it's something that we can address verbally at halftime so that the mistake doesn't happen in the second half. But whatever it is, we need to focus on the skill and not just focus on these random position designations or just the strategy of trying to win the immediate game.